Hey everyone, it's your favorite gentleman, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today we're going to talk about aphrodisiacs and what are some of the superfoods that can really get things going and really fire things up in the bedroom. And some of the foods that you didn't even realize that you were missing in your intimate relationships and finding the passion. That's one of the things, that's one of my powerful topics I love talking about, getting back to the passion. And I have the expert on the show today that's going to bring you all the insights. Well, some of the insights. She can't spill too much tea, right? She has to keep some of the tea reserved. And you have to connect with her to get the full scoop. So stay tuned, stay with us. Here we go. Welcome to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. If you are just tuning in, this episode, we're going to talk about something unique, but also very important. We're going to talk about aphrodisiacs. And I have the expert of all experts, Miss Amy Reiley, best known as the authority in aphrodisiac foods and superfoods that is helping people eat right, eat better, to get back to the basics of love. She's also a speaker, cookbook author, and consultant, as well as a freelance wine writer and wine competition judge. Miss Amy Reiley is the best person to help us get back to what we have missed out on, is eating right? Because what you put into your body has a direct effect on what the outcome of your body releases. Miss Amy also is a author. We talked about that. Released her first book, Fork Me, Spoon Me, which is a sensual cookbook, cemented her role as America's leading aphrodisiac. So you got to check that book out. She hails all the way from Los Angeles with her husband and 2 children. And in her spare time, she works for Rock and Wrap It Up as a sustainable coordinator. So without further ado, we're going to ask the hard questions today. And I'm going to ask the hard questions today about what are some of the superfoods that we need to get back to the love. Help me welcome to the stage the incredible Miss Amy Reiley. Welcome, Miss Amy. How are you?
Oh my goodness, that was quite an introduction. I hope I can live up to that.
That was your resume. You did all the work, ma'am. That is incredible.
This is the way you make it sound.
You are significant, and the work you do is significant. And so I could do nothing less but bring you in with a standing ovation. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Miss Reiley, I wanted to ask, diving right in, you have an incredible mind, and you could do a number of different things. You do a number of different things. Why the focus on aphrodisiac foods and superfoods that help us create a better intimate relationship?
It's really because I have an interest in food and health, and just how delicious good food is, like just produce straight from the farm and animals that are raised on real feed and all of those things. And it's just so much tastier. And I really wanted to find a platform for encouraging people to make those food choices and introduce them to more of those food choices. And I thought, what better way to get people to make great food choices than to, tell them, well, you realize these things you'll probably have more sex if you eat these things, right? So that's kind of where it all comes from, is trying to get people to make great food choices by incentivizing them.
Yes. And what bigger incentive than sex, right? Right. Getting back to love and eating the right foods. And it's good for you. It's not just good for you. It's good for, again, what you put in is what you get out, right? You are what you eat.
Yes,
and so
exactly.
That's what
and it's not just good for you. It's good for the planet. It's good for, it's good for the farming industry. I mean, it's good all around. It's just a good choice any way you look at it. And if you're going to have a better sex life from it, why wouldn't you do that, right?
True. Very true. So I want to get to the definition, the core, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is an aphrodisiac and what is an aphrodisiac food in relation?
So an aphrodisiac is really anything. I mean, the short definition is anything that promotes or increases sexual desire, right? Um, but the way I look at it with an aphrodisiac food, I like to take a little bit more broad of a definition, because there are foods that historically are considered aphrodisiac, and are proven to support your sexual health, but you may not immediately feel like tearing off your clothes because you ate them, but they are still an aphrodisiac because they're going to support your sexual health and a better sex life and all of those things. So but that's what an aphrodisiac food is, and there are hundreds of them, and most of them are quite delicious. A few are a little freaky, but most of them are things you can really get excited about eating.
I love that. I love that. And I love to eat. I love to eat. And I think Miss Chanel in the audience loves to eat as well. I really enjoy foods, but I'm guilty of this, right? I'm eating some of the wrong foods, because there are definitely athletes, professional athletes.
Yeah.
They do this before a track meet or before they go and perform in the Olympics. There's certain foods that help them perform better, and there's certain foods that help them don't perform better.
Right.
And so, can you spill some tea on what's your top 2 favorite foods that's really gonna get the passion going in my relationship? Can you share those?
Wow, top 2. I mean, that's tough. I actually, on my website, eatsomething.sexy.com, I have a list of 10. Actually, it's 20, because I have 10 for men and 10 for women, which I think is a better choice than 2, because what if I pick 2 things and you don't like those 2 foods? I don't want you to feel like you have to eat them. Like, for example, one of the ones for women is eggs. Maybe you hate eggs. Don't go eating eggs just because I said so. There are 9 other foods you can choose from on that list. But yes, eggs, by the way, are great food for women. If I was going to choose 1 or 2 to highlight, though, chili peppers would be right at the top of my list, especially for a romantic evening, because chili peppers not only do have, I mean, you obviously don't eat a lot of chili, so you're not getting that much nutrition from them, but believe it or not, they do have nutrients that support sexual health. So that is always important. Those are things that you need. However, chilies also have an immediate effect that could lead you from the dining table to the bedroom, or maybe you just throw someone across the dining table. Maybe you don't even make it to the bedroom. That's fine. You do it your way. You do you. But chilies.
We keep plenty of chili peppers in my house. I love chili peppers and eggs.
And eggs. Okay, perfect. Chili peppers, have you noticed how they make your tongue tingle?
True.
They make your lips plump up a little. They make you seem like the most kissable, luscious human on the planet in that moment. Just
You're right.
little.
Yeah.
They will raise your body temperature. So you might feel a little more ready to tear off your clothes. And if you eat enough of them, you can get an endorphin rush even from them. You can get that almost a runner's high feeling just from eating chili peppers. I have never, ever eaten enough chilies to experience that, but I know a lot of people do. I'm just not that big of a fan of chilies. I'm a fan of them in seduction. I'm just not a fan of eating a huge amount of them personally. A little heat goes a long way for me. So, and that actually is a really important point, which is you have to, when you're planning a food for this meal of seduction or whatever it is, you have to think about the other person and think about what their preferences are, because maybe they're even more sensitive to the heat of chilies than I am. So if you're going to use chilies, it better be a very, you have to use it wisely, right? Or maybe they really love chilies and you can just put them in everything. So anyway, that's food number 1. I was supposed to do 2, wasn't I? This is so hard. We could talk about oysters, because everyone wants to talk about oysters. And this is another one, like if you're serving this to someone who's not sure about oysters, don't do it. Don't do it. But if your partner or potential partner, that they are really into oysters, they're actually, I mean, they're kind of a cliche. They have this incredible reputation as an aphrodisiac, but it's real. Oysters, first of all, they're a really good source of easily digestible protein. They're lean protein. And, you know, most people don't like associate protein with sexual performance, but sex is exercise, and you need the stamina, you need the protein, you need that energy. But they also have some nutrients in them that support sexual health, including zinc, which is good for blood flow. Interestingly, oysters also, there was a study a few years ago, and it was kind of just to raise some eyebrows, but it's really true. But no one ever looked into it further because it was just kind of to catch some attention. But it was discovered by a group of scientists that there are a couple of amino acids in bivalves, which include oysters, clams, mussels, and these amino acids have the potential to raise sexual hormone, like directly raise sexual hormone levels, which no food has ever been proven to do. So I really wish someone would study it further and figure out, how is this happening? How much would you actually need? Like, do you have to eat a dozen oysters for this to be effective? Or, you know, we don't know the answer to that, but I do think that, you know, just the suggestion of it, the fact that you know that oysters can raise your sexual hormone levels, kind of tempting, right? It's a good reason to eat an oyster.
I'm gonna try it. I'm down to try it. Okay, cool. I'm down to try it. So how soon should I expect results? We're talking to the doctor, Dr. Amy Reiley, y'all. And so we're talking to the doctor. I know you're not a doctor, but I'm calling you Mrs. Reiley today. How soon should I expect results? Can I just down a whole bunch of eggs and chili peppers today? Or is it something built over time that I should work on?
There are different foods that have, you know, I named chili peppers because they do have this immediate effect. I'm having a bad hair day. Like, it just won't, it keeps going in my eyes and then I can't see you. Sorry, just
it's a topic. It's hot.
Fashion.
It's
fashion problem here.
You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you. So, you know, chili peppers I chose because they have this immediate effect, right? They make your, you know, they're going to make your tongue tingle. They're going to raise your body temperature. You're going to get all of that right then and there. You're going to tear off your clothes. You're going to have this amazing evening, and then you're going to thank me. Just send money. But
sending now. Nice. Yeah. Your Cash App will be posted later.
No, so sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, there are other foods that you know, that if you make these choices, like my list that I mentioned of the 10 best foods for men and the 10 best foods for women, these are foods that, like, if you're eating them regularly, are going to help support your sexual health, you know, for life. Like, you're just going to have, they're going to pay off over time and continue to pay off. Whereas the chili peppers are in the moment.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What foods should I stay away from? Are there any foods that I should stay away from that can actually hinder me in the bedroom?
Yes. I mean, if we're talking about things that are that immediate payoff, there are foods that are an immediate problem as well. And those are basically heavy foods. Like, don't plan a romantic dinner that's like chicken Alfredo or a steak. So, you know, if you eat a steak, like, what do you feel like doing afterwards? It's generally not having a roll in the hay. It's usually more like taking a very long nap, right?
True.
So, so heavier foods, when you eat heavier foods, your blood goes to your stomach to work on digesting it. Well, you know, in order to achieve sexual climax, you need your blood flowing somewhere else. So you don't want all of your blood rushing to your stomach to digest your food. That's just the worst.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. This is huge. Amy Reiley, y'all, coming to the stage, helping us get to a better intimacy. We have one quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We got some bills to pay, y'all. We'll be right back.
Support for Gentleman Style Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers you precision engineering tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off free worldwide shipping with the code GENTSTYLE at manscaped.com.
We are back to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. If you missed it, we have the incredible Miss Amy Reiley spilling some tea, not all the tea, some of the tea, on what are aphrodisiacs, the definition of an aphrodisiac, and an aphrodisiac food, and some of the things that help actually chili, right? Eggs can help you actually help the performance and help get the body stimulated and going. Oysters, that's a common aphrodisiac, and she has a myth.
It's really true. Yes.
She has a list of these all on her website. If you missed that, go back, scroll back, and check her out. She is the legend, and she is the truth, helping us get better peak performance in the bedrooms, in our relationships, and helping us last longer in your relationship. Miss Reiley, tell me, why? What are some of the things that you are seeing people? Sex is one of the top things that's killing relationships today. We're not loving anymore. We're not living longer anymore. What are some other benefits of eating an aphrodisiac besides bedroom performance or intimacy?
So, I mean, the most interesting thing about aphrodisiacs, when you start to look at foods that were historically considered aphrodisiac, many of them are foods that we now know as supporting heart health. And basically, you can take any food that you hear is, a heart health food. Oats, for example. Oats makes my list of the top 10 foods for men. Anything that you hear of as a food that's good for your heart is also going to be great for your sex life, because it's all about blood flow, right?
Right. That's true.
So, yeah. So when you start eating for a better sex life, you're also supporting heart health. And so hopefully you'll live a longer and more fulfilling life that way.
Absolutely. So help me out. I need your help. Help me plan a great evening. Help me plan the ultimate date night experience with some foods that I can, prepare in advance, because I'm cheating. I'm a cheater. I'm going to cheat and prepare these in advance. I'm not going to try and cook it while she's there sitting and then completely turn her off, because what's a perfect date night? I
actually tell people a lot. Like, we have, again, on my website, sorry, but it's a great resource for you, eatsomething.sexy.com. We have a lot of recipes that we note, hey, this recipe can be made in advance, or this portion can be made in advance, because it's so true. You want your attention to be on the other person and the experience you're having together, right? So if you want, I'm trying to think, what's the ultimate easy made in advance? I'm on the spot. Wow, I can't do it.
You're fine. You're gonna have me boiling eggs and chilies.
Yeah, eggs and chilies. Yeah, those hard-boiled eggs can be made in advance. No, please do not just serve a plate of hard-boiled eggs. That would be terrible. The other thing that you can do, since I'm blanking on specific dishes to make in advance, one thing that you can do is think of something that you could make together. Ooh. But it has to be something fun, right? I always suggest, why don't you try rolling sushi together? Because it's just fun and different, and it's basically making sandwiches. Like, once you learn how to make the rice, it's basically making a wrap or a sandwich. It's not that hard. And it's fun, and you can be creative and silly, and it's easy cleanup, also important, right?
Sure.
So yeah, either, something that you can make in advance is always a great option, or something that you can make together. And I think making the food together can increase the intimacy. It's a great shared experience. And also, especially if you're a couple who's been in a long-term relationship, there's probably one person in the couple who makes most of the meals. And it's a really nice feeling for them to be sharing that burden.
True.
Which certainly can lead to more fulfillment in other parts of your relationship.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you debunk this myth for me? There's a common misconception, and I think we mess this up all the time. Chocolate. Is chocolate an aphrodisiac?
Yeah.
And is it any chocolate, or is it dark chocolate, milk chocolate? What kind of chocolate is the actual aphrodisiac particularly?
Okay. From a psychological standpoint, there's been a little bit of people have looked into this a little bit. Yes. All chocolate, you know, we have this idea, this association in our minds of chocolate and love, and chocolate as a gift of love. So yeah, any chocolate works in that way. If you want chocolate that is actually going to benefit your sex life, then it does have to be dark chocolate or cocoa powder or cocoa nibs. Yeah. The darker, the better, the less sugar. Sugar is kind of an enemy of your sex life. I'm not going to say don't do it. But yeah, so the darker the chocolate, the better. You're going to have a lot more sexual benefits from it. And absolutely, in fact, dark chocolate is on our list of the 10 best foods for women's sexual health. So there's actually more to it. You can go check it all out, why all women should be eating chocolate every day.
Love it.
Eat chocolate.
Permission to eat chocolate. Low in sugar, y'all. Remember that. She said not a whole lot of sugar, because that can actually hinder. We have a question from one of our VIP sponsors of the show. Nikki Rose asks, I'm planning a romantic picnic. What foods should I pack for him and myself for a steamy, sensual night?
Ooh, nice. So I always, first of all, recommend packing a bottle of wine on this picnic. Wine is one of my personal favorite.
Red or white?
So that depends on the preferences of the two people going on this picnic. If it were for me, it would be champagne, which actually has some really interesting health benefits. Champagne I consider it the most aphrodisiac of all. Alcohol is obviously considered aphrodisiac. I consider champagne at the top of the list. And this includes sparkling wines. I don't want you to think you have to buy. Champagne only comes from the Champagne region of France. There are sparkling wines that are wonderful and made all over the world, and many are less expensive. So, you know, so you can get a bargain from somewhere else, but, and that is still good. But the thing about it is the bubbles. The bubbles hit your bloodstream very quickly. And they give you that giddy feeling, that sort of lightness that you get from champagne that you don't get from most other types of alcohol. The great thing about that is you realize pretty quickly that you have alcohol in your system and that you can feel it. And most people tend to drink a little less. So you never get to, because that's the danger with alcohol, of course, in a romantic situation. You drink too much, you can't perform. It's a lot less likely to happen with champagne. Champagne also has many of the things that support heart health that we hear about, particularly, you know, red wine for men. Champagne also supports heart health. And there's some evidence that champagne supports brain health as well. And I think that, you know, brain health is also, we don't think about it, but brain health is also important to your sex life. You need to be a creative lover and a caring lover and a thinking lover, you know. So anyway, I'm putting a bottle of champagne in my picnic basket. You put the wine that you like in there. You have to be careful. Don't let the basket shake, though, of course, if you're carrying champagne. We'll have a very exciting and soggy picnic. And then I have a sandwich recipe that was in, which one of my books? I think it was in my second book called Romancing the Stove. Which it's, I now make a different, that was actually a vegetarian picnic sandwich at the time. I now make it with bacon because I read some fun references to bacon as an aphrodisiac, and they're all anecdotal. There is no like scientific reason that bacon is an aphrodisiac, but apparently a lot of people have more sex when they eat bacon. So I put bacon in my sandwiches. They're tomato, avocado, bacon, and butter on whole grain bread, basically. There you go. Just gave you a whole recipe. The reason for the butter is because it kind of acts like a seal on the bread. So if you're packing them for a picnic, you know how sandwiches get soggy. The butter keeps them from getting soggy. So it's as simple as that. And it is a very delicious sandwich that I personally like to have on picnics with my champagne and bacon. we're having on this picnic. And then, you know, something for dessert, of course. Let's see, what's a good dessert that travels well?
Besides chocolate, y'all can't use chocolate. This is cheating.
I mean, you could just take a bar of really fantastic chocolate. That is always a welcome choice. Or, you know, maybe surprise someone with a beautiful box of chocolates. But I would make, if we're gonna, I'm now stuck on chocolate, I have a chocolate seduction cookie. So good. It's chocolate with almond flour, dark chocolate chunks, really good chocolate cookie recipe. And I'm trying to remember, I've written multiple Aphrodisiac cookbooks. I think that one is also in Romancing the Stove, which was my second cookbook. So you can find it in my book, or just find a really great dark chocolate chunk cookie. You can't go wrong with that. And yes, that's my first book, Fork Me Spoony. You got my first book up there, which is still my favorite, still my best-selling book.
Absolutely. So I got champagne. Find out the preference of your partner, whether they like red wines or white wines. But champagne is kind of a nice happy medium because it the bubbles, the carbonation, the intimacy, the passion starts there. And then we have some avocado. I love avocado.
Avocado is an aphrodisiac. Originally, it was called the testicle tree. It was believed avocado resembled on the tree. Yeah, avocado is an aphrodisiac. It's also loaded with vitamin E, which is sometimes called the sex vitamin. Can't go wrong with an avocado.
Can't go wrong with avocado. So avocado, bacon on some wheat toast. I love it.
With butter and tomatoes. Gotta have the butter. You can't make this sandwich without the butter.
Okay, so I am. So forgive me, y'all. The beauty of my show is I get to take notes live during these sessions. So this is perfect. So there you go, Miss Nikki Rose. I hope that answered your question. That is the romantic picnic setting. Champagne, avocado toast with butter and bacon and tomatoes in it, and end it off with some chocolate, maybe some strawberries in there, something like that.
Ooh, lovely. Yeah, just some fresh strawberries. They travel well. I am actually really hungry right now.
And on that, y'all, we're going to take one more quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We have the fabulous Miss Reiley on the Gentleman Style Podcast stage. We'll be right back.
Good day, podcast listeners. This is your boy, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I wanted to let you guys know that we will be rolling out a new feature and adding a join sponsor button next to the subscriber button here at the bottom of your screen. Once you click the button, it will display 3 membership levels. Gentleman Gentry, which is our entry level, Duke Duchess, which is our season level, and the Emperor and Empress, which is our most sophisticated level, which you will receive unique perks and benefits at each differing level and gain access to our community tab. We will also be sharing polls, upcoming events, and interviews, as well as receive feedback from our sponsors directly. Your support helps me find new and exciting guests to bring to the stage live. Well, in order to get the higher end speakers, it requires, you guessed it, money. So thank you for tuning in to my channel. And if becoming a sponsor sounds good to you, then select the join button below and choose your desired sponsor level. Let's continue to grow and serve the future of generations of men and women to come. Love you guys. Bye.
We are back to the Gentleman Style Podcast stage, where we are whipping up something delicious on the Gentleman Style Podcast show. And we are diving deep with expert, author, writer, Aphrodisiac food expert, Miss Amy Reiley, here on the Gentleman Style Podcast stage. And she's helping us doing better and finding that safe boundary in our relationships and getting back to the love. So I'm going to cheat here a little bit. I'm going to cheat here, and we are going to actually show some of these unique recipes on Miss Amy's website. And I found my favorite already.
Great.
I found my absolute favorite. I'm actually going to dive a little bit deeper into this to see where I can actually find But it is, here we go. Share screen.
Ooh,
This is the beauty of
can't
going
wait.
live, y'all.
What is it?
This is the beauty of going live, y'all. Nope, not this one.
Oh, that's the book.
That's the book. And then these are some recipes that you all can take into account. Check out her website. It is fantastic. But this brown butter asparagus with hard-boiled eggs. So there it is. There's the cheat code right there. There's the eggs. No bacon, but asparagus. Can you talk about some of these recipes? How did you come up with these unique recipes, Miss Amy?
You know what? That one is so funny. That's my mom's recipe. I kind of perfected it, but as it's something she came up with, she just wanted things, easy things. And she made asparagus with brown butter. And then she chopped up hard-boiled eggs and threw it on top. And I was like, oh, like there's an idea here. We're gonna make this into something, a real legit recipe, Mom. So that's where that one came from Mom. And it just happened to feature two of the best, aphrodisiac ingredients. We've been talking about eggs, which are symbol of fertility. I mean, that's really goes way back in history. And then asparagus, which I have a monthly newsletter called Amy Reiley's Aphrodisiac of the Month. And each month I just send out information on one aphrodisiac ingredient. And this month was asparagus, which is not something you probably think about as an aphrodisiac, but yes, it is.
So I'm gonna stop sharing because I don't want y'all. I need y'all to go check out her website. She has all the secrets, all the tea on her website, and get these hot secrets to better superfoods, these aphrodisiac foods, all laid out for you. You can't get any easier than that, y'all. You can't get any better than that. Thank you, Miss Amy. That is huge. What do you have next? What's you're an author? What's next? What do you have coming down the pipeline for us?
Oh, I know everybody asks me that. You know what? I have two little kids. That's what I have. I'm raising the next generation of authors, creators. I don't know. My kids are very creative. And they keep me a little too busy to be working on a book right now. So I do regularly contribute to eatsomething.sexy.com, the website. I do, as I said, send out a newsletter once a month, which, by the way, you can subscribe to on the website if that is something you want to get. You want to get an aphrodisiac every month. That's how you do it. So, just kind of keeping that stuff going. I've been doing more speaking engagements. I kind of stopped when my kids were born. I'm starting to get back into that, which is really exciting. So yeah, that's where I am right now. There'll be another book someday.
Absolutely. Someday. In time. We got plenty on our plate. Wink, wink, hint, hint. That was my pun for the you all. Miss Amy, you are fantastic. I love this. so much. And I appreciate you again taking time out of your busy day to be with us on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. Miss Amy, you've shared so many nuggets today, so many tips, so many tricks. I know you shared so much. What's one final piece of advice for that young couple that his relationship is on the fence? They're falling off the love wagon. Any final nuggets, word of advice to that young boy, that young girl who's just that young couple trying to get back to the love?
I mean, food is always, we all have to eat, right? And we all enjoy eating. Most of us do anyway. So food is always a great vehicle for romance, but you have to make it feel special. And whether that's putting away your cell phone and turning on some Barry White, or it's, just setting the table with a proper tablecloth, or going out to eat at your partner's favorite restaurant, not yours, your partner's favorite restaurant, whatever it is, think about what they want. And that really goes a long way. Just the fact that you've thought about that part of it. So use food in every way you can to kind of make things exciting.
Yeah, I'm wheeling and dealing right now. So I'm thinking like on the way to her favorite restaurant, you're like, you got some chili peppers, like, hey, nibble on this.
On that. Why not? Why not?
You're feeding them, right? The intimate part about that, you're feeding them like, here, bite this. And do not have a car full of hard-boiled eggs. Asparagus, though, that might be a unique snack. Miss Amy, thank you so much for being here. This has been a phenomenal episode, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure to host you. I hope this helps. I want to say this to you publicly. Don't ever quit. I know you're raising a family. I know you're expanding, you're growing, and you're going to continue to grow. Don't ever quit. We need you. We need what you're doing because we need to get back to love.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you all, my audience, for tuning into the Gentleman Style Podcast show. Miss Amy, how can we connect with you? How can we learn more about what you're doing in the movement? The train has left the station, but you have so much more. So how can we connect and grow with you?
So for sure, you can find me through the website. There's always new stuff there. I actually, as far as social media goes, the place to connect with me is Twitter. I'm a part of a really fun Twitter community, and I am there, and I will respond to you if you come find me.
There you go. There you have it. So connect. She's very active on Twitter. Check out her Twitter page. You'll be pleasantly surprised. I was very pleasantly surprised when I found her Twitter page, and it has all these items, and she continues the trend of just educating you along the way. And she takes you on a journey. She takes you on a journey of passion and of food, my favorite topic. So I hope this helps, y'all. I hope this helps get you guys back to love, because that's what's important. And so if, like I always end every show, I hope this helps you. And like I always end every show, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and always take care of business. This is Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show, your favorite gentleman, and Miss Amy Reiley, Aphrodisiac food expert, signing off. Love you guys. Bye.